All right, so we want to go to Siaya County, but before then, I have a panel of guests here in studio, and I will be speaking to them in a few minutes. Let me just introduce them right now. We have Jesse Odwor, who is a lawyer and political analyst. We also have Dan Manzo, who's a member of parliament for Makueni, and also we have Joseph Kiyoko, who is also a political analyst. I will be speaking to them. It's going to be very interesting to hear just what Dan Manzo has to say about the wiper primaries that are already on course. All right, so we'll be getting to that conversation shortly. But for now, though, I want us to cross over to Siaya, and I want to speak to Rashid Ronald. Rashid, thank you very much for joining us this morning. So we have been speaking to Frank Otieno, and voting is ongoing smoothly in Kisumu. Is that the same case in Siaya?
Yeah, thank you very much, Betty Chalo. First of all, let me let you know that I'm at Segere Primary School. This is the polling center where Governor Cornel Rasanga is expected to come and cast his vote anytime. But what is happening right now here in Siaya, it's very interesting. You can see right behind me here, nothing is going on at this polling station. The ballot papers have not arrived yet. And interesting enough that the distribution center is just a few kilometers from, about 1 kilometer in Siaya there. And ironically, we find that those papers, the ballot papers, have been transported to other polling stations which are far away from Siaya. And we are told, for example, Siaya Senator, the sitting Senator James Orengo, has already voted at a polling station called Urenga. That was at around 10:30. And also I'm getting information that Oburu Oginga has also cast his vote in Bondo there. But here things are not moving. We are wondering what is happening. The ballot papers have not been brought, and no one seems to say anything about that. You can see people waiting right behind their tired faces. They've been here since morning, some of them as early as 6, because remember the returning officer had told us last night that voting was going to start at around 6. So some of them came here earlier than 6, expecting that they were going to cast their vote, but it's now, they're still waiting to see what is going to happen. And of course, we are also keeping a watch. We'll be waiting for the governor. I'm sure once the ballot papers arrive here, he will also come here and cast his vote. And just to talk to, I would like to talk to one of the residents here. This is Paul Amina. Paul Amina, of course, Betty, is a veteran journalist. For those who are in the know-how in matters journalism in the year the 1960s, 70s, of course, that name is familiar to them. He at one time worked with the former Tanzanian president, was it Mkapa? Benjamin Mkapa, who is also a journalist, the former Tanzanian president. He happens to be a native of this place. Amina, what's not happening here?
Well, we don't know. We have actually been here long enough, since 6 o'clock. And, well, we were here yesterday. We heard that the voting had been postponed for logistical reasons. And we expected actually things to be better today. So we don't know. We are at the sea. We are still waiting for ballot papers to arrive here.
Yeah, Betty, you've heard people are still waiting for the ballot papers to arrive here. They have been here since morning. And it's very interesting in Siaya. Siaya, the election was postponed 3 times. The last one was the 3rd time. So at least this time round, things have started. Of course, some polling stations, the election has started. So we hope once the ballot papers arrive here, we'll be able to inform you or update you more about what is happening in Siaya. Back to you, Betty.
These primaries were supposed to be conducted yesterday, and you'd imagine that with a few hours difference, the party will ensure that everything is in place and not having the situation where you're having right now, no ballot papers. So what are the party officials saying about this?
So far, Betty, we haven't gotten any official communication from the returning officer. But all in all, of course, I said earlier that some ballot papers have been taken to some polling station. The only interesting is that those ones which are around Lego Usonga here, they are still waiting, because this is actually a few kilometers from the distribution center. So we are wondering what is happening. But of course, I'm sure there's still time, because unlike the general election, this time not many voters will turn up, not 100%. So we expect by evening, if they arrive any time from now, we'll be through with the exercise early enough, Betty.
All right.
This is good.
Thank you very much, Rashid Ronald, for that reporting. He is reporting that really there's no voting or activities at that polling station where he is in Siaya. No ballot papers have arrived there yet so far. Very interesting development. Remember that the primary yesterday was cancelled or postponed to today, so it would be the best option or the ideal situation that indeed the party would have made all the preparations to ensure that voting takes place, but that has not happened. So we'll be getting to hear more from Rashid Ronald as that develops. But in Kisumu County, Frank Otieno tells us that, and you've seen, voting is already underway very smoothly. But of course, people are complaining that it's taking a lot of time. But that really, the situation there is that the voting is already underway and it's as smooth as it's supposed to be. All right, so let's come back to studio and have the conversation that I had hinted about. And joining me right now is Jesse Odwor. He's sitting on my far right. Thank you very much for joining us, Jesse. He is a lawyer and political analyst. Also, we have Dan Manzo, who's a member of parliament for Makueni. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm sure you're busy, so it's a good thing that you're here.
Yes.
All right, and also we have Joseph Kioko, who's a political analyst. Thank you very much for joining us. So I'll start with you, Dan, and Wiper primaries seemingly taking off smoothly. Is that how you feel as a member of the party?
Yes, so far so good. It's only that in Kitui, voting started yesterday, and then they're still putting together the tallies, and I believe by midday today we'll begin having results flowing from Kitui County.
All right.
Yes.
And the Machakos one was postponed. Why is that?
Yes, there was suspicion that there was likelihood of interference by the other side of government. And
Which side?
well, the Jubilee side. Let me
There are
call
very
it
many
so.
sides.
Yes, the Jubilee side, of course, Chap Chap is working with the Jubilee. And therefore, there is now a meeting going on between the three interested candidates, so that, because in our constitution, we provide for that sort of provision whereby you can build consensus and you are able to arrive at a candidature, and that becomes a candidate of the party.
All right.
Yes.
I'd like to go to you, Jesse. And why does it feel that it's already August 8th? It feels like we're in the general election. Why is it that way? Why are these primaries so high stakes?
Thanks, Betty. The reason why the stakes are so high is because of the zoning of the countries. You realize that most of the coalition political parties, the indigenous political parties, have zoned some parts of the country to be their strongholds. For instance, you go to Luo Nyanza, ODM is the party to beat. You go to Central Kenya, it's a Jubilee party. And therefore, there is a feeling that the moment you clinch the party nomination ticket, then you are as good as already won the election. You just went to be sworn in. And that is why we feel like it's already August. Actually, when this is going to be worse than August, because
Worse?
yeah, it's
Why
going
do
to
you
be
say
worse, because the major fallouts are going to happen. They've already started happening, and therefore there is going to be a lot of independent candidates, and then benefits from also the smaller parties, what we call the briefcase parties, and therefore August is going to be worse than this.
All right.
Yeah.
Joseph, I don't know if you have the same feeling, even from the electorate, and taking a look at even on Friday, the president comes out on Saturday and says that they did not expect that kind of a turnout. They expected 30%, but it seems that everybody came out to cast their ballots. And so we'll be getting back to that question shortly. But I understand that we have a presser by Andrew Musangi, who's the chair of the National Elections Board for Jubilee Party. Let's just cross over there and listen to what he has to say. All right, so we're expecting that presser to begin any moment now. As you can see, he is all ready. One of the things we're expecting him to, of course, address is the announcement for the final results of some regions.
Welcome to this morning's press briefing. First and foremost, quick post-mortem on yesterday and status update. We conducted primaries in 5 counties yesterday, as you all saw. Reports from the ground indicate that this was a largely successful exercise. Counting started promptly in the evening upon closure of the polling stations on site We did not move any voting material off-site. And from what I can see from the media reports, you members of the press are more on top of it than even I am. I'm seeing real-time flow of results, which is a situation akin to the general election. And we are proud of your maintaining this real-time coverage of the tallying exercise. So we continue to monitor that exercise. We thank you for partnering with us in bringing results from all over the country, from all political parties. And these results continue to trickle in. What we've witnessed is the large turnout that we spoke about has been vindicated by the votes we've seen cast. And we thank our voters for expressing themselves at the ballot box in such a vigorous manner. Today, we have an exercise that now is triple the size of yesterday's exercise, in that we're covering 16 counties. Materials for these 16 counties went on site yesterday. Over the course of the night, these materials were properly segregated and delivery continued to the polling station level. And voting has commenced and will continue to keep you updated. As with yesterday, we are continuing to maintain the same real-time monitoring of the voting exercise and dealing with any hitches experienced similarly in real time. We're responding to any situations by continuing to keep in touch with the NEB members on the ground and the county election board members, together with the returning officers at every constituency and at county level. And we'll continue to update you. We pray that this exercise goes on successfully and that we experience similarly large turnouts at all these polling stations. Now, one issue we would like to readdress and emphasize is the issue that constantly arises with the voter register. I would like to restate, for the avoidance of any doubt in the minds of any voter and in the minds of any of our presiding officers and clerks, that if a member of the Jubilee party turns out to vote, they will first and foremost check our register. As we stated, if the name is not on the register and that individual has a valid national identity card, they should be allowed to vote. Their names will be entered on the register. There's no refusal. Under no circumstances should there be any refusal of an individual being allowed to vote. Reports are still trickling in that this is happening in some instances, and I want to repeat this for the avoidance of any doubt countrywide, for all our staff and all voters and members of the Jubilee Party to note. Finally, I'd like at this point to express our gratitude to our aspirants, to our the members of the party, to all the volunteers who are helping us with this mammoth exercise today. The party wishes to express its sincere gratitude for the sacrifice you have all made. And we are praying, as I said, for a successful day today, which will lead us on in the same momentum to be able to deliver valid, credible, and free and fair elections for the Jubilee Party. Thank you very much. Does anybody have any questions? Yes, madam. Yes, Jackie. You see, Jackie, there's a coin that has two sides.
All right, so that's Andrew Musangi, who's the chair of the National Elections Board for Jubilee Party, just giving an update of the processes taking place throughout the 19 counties that are having their primaries today. And one of the things that he's said is that one of the issues is to do with the voting process, and he says that if any voter goes to a polling station and they still do not appear in the register, they can still vote using their identification card. All right, so that is the latest from there. We were expecting some results, but that has not happened. But we'll still keep tabs with what's happening at the headquarters. That's in Jubilee headquarters. All right, also, we would like to bring you up to speed with some new developments. We understand that in Homa Bay, there could be some chaos there or some violence. And remember that earlier that there was reports of that conflict between Oyugi Magwanga and the incumbent Cyprian Awiti. So those are the pictures there. Those are live pictures coming to us from Homa Bay. Like I mentioned earlier on, there are quite a number of issues, serious conflict erupting between the incumbent Cyprian Awiti and an aspirant for the gubernatorial post, Oyugi Magwanga. Oyugi actually came out and opposed Cyprian Awiti's perceived win. And therefore, that's why there could be some chaos there, the clash between their supporters. But what you're seeing there is rather peaceful, but we understand that there are quite a number of issues earlier on in regards to the primaries in Homa Bay County. All right, so that's the latest from Homa Bay County. We'll get our reporters to give us exactly the details of what's happening there. We also apologize for the picture there. We're just trying to give you the best that we can, even with the network constraints. Coming back to our conversation here in studio, remember I have Jesse Odwor, Dan Manzo, and Joseph Kioko. Thank you very much for staying with us. So I was asking you, Joseph, it feels like an election because even the electorate are coming out in large numbers. Why does it feel like a do or die?
I think first, thank you for hosting us, Betty. There are a number of factors that have contributed in the anxieties that we are witnessing today.
Right.
When Parliament passed the no party hopping bill, the nominations became in themselves a finality.
Okay.
And every aspirant who is participating in this nomination has accepted that there is an element of finality in it. I'm either vying on this party or I go as an independent.
Yes.
The option of going as an independent has many connotations. If you do that in Cumberland, you'll be branded a Jubilee opponent. If you do that in Luoland, you'll be branded as a Jubilee proponent. If you do that in Central Province, you'll be an ODM. Okay. So everybody has gone out and mobilizes people. The aspirants have done their thing. I think you can't blame the aspirants for what they have done. But the problem is the level of political organizations by parties. A decision was taken that no party hopping must happen.
Yes.
But political parties and all actors that play a critical role in the nomination process did not come out and prepare themselves adequately. That is why you see these gaps. These gaps are more administrative than principle.
Okay.
I think so. And we shouldn't give up, and that's the thing that needs to be made clear. We shouldn't give up on it, but we must take this as lessons learned. After this election, the next 5 years is a good preparation ground, and look at what gaps were there, how do we address these gaps, how fundamental were they, and how do we ensure that the nomination, because right now it is becoming evident that the nomination process is the thing.
Is a thing. Is a final decision.
Is the final decision.
Yes, especially in the strongholds.
In the strongholds. In the party greens. You see, each political party is organizing himself based on our strongholds, which are green areas. Then there's the no-go zone, which are the red areas. And then there's a battleground. So in areas where it's green, you must have a different approach to party nomination.
Okay.
In areas that are red, you must also have a different approach. That's why you hear people say, let's move towards consensus. And where it's battleground, you must perfect the nomination exercise. You must articulate the process of nomination, maybe 3 years before the nomination, so that any actor who gets involved becomes comfortable that this thing will come out fair.
All right. Isn't it interesting also, Dan, to see that the issues that we're facing back in 2012 are the same ones that, we're seeing right now? All the chaos, there's nothing different. It's like we've never learned anything in the last 5 years.
Yeah, and things are not likely to change soon because Kenyan politics are very much tribal-based. And it is, there's a wrestle of which tribes, keeps the top seat. And you see that makes people come out very strongly in whatever they do. You can see people are very much mobilized in strongholds. and you know, they know this is final, and the person who goes through the nominations is likely to become the elected person in August, and that person is elected to go and support the presidential candidate of that particular party.
All right. The other thing that we're seeing there, another highlight of this, Jesse, I don't know if you'll agree with me, is that you're having a contest between the will of the people and the will of the party owners. We're seeing that, I don't want to mention the regions, but you're seeing that in a number of counties where the people want a certain person, but other forces, you know, want somebody else.
Yeah, what works is like in the case of Ukambani, you see that some people moved from Wiper Party to Jubilee.
Yeah.
Of course, there is a lot of aggression against them because, you know, the Wiper Party has a presidential candidate. And obviously, by being Jubilee, they are supporting another presidential candidate, which is not the local presidential candidate. So that creates a lot of animosity to those who are in the minority in that regard. And therefore, you know, they could also not be with the people because the people are looking at their son. You know, be able to clinch the presidency in the country, in all those regions. And therefore, you know, when you are not with the rest of the people, there's a lot of pressure. The political party leaders still have a lot of hold on their followers. At the moment you don't support that particular political party leader, like in the case of Central, if you are not with President Uhuru, you are not likely to survive at all. And the same thing in Nyanza, the same thing in Ukambani.
Yes. Jesse?
To a very large extent, I do agree with you, Betty. There is actually the battle between the party lineup and the people's lineup, in the sense that the party loyalists, what my learned friend calls the party chiefs, they have the loyalists who have been there with them. Then there are also those who finance the party. Politics is about money too. There are those who have invested so much in these political parties, not just because of their time, but also because of the money aspect. And then there are people who, the party loyalists, the party chiefs think that they really can't trust them when it comes to matters politics and even matters in parliament. You'll want somebody who will drive your agenda in parliament.
Yes.
But then here comes a new person. As much as is the people's person, the party chiefs don't know really where they stand. When issues are hot in parliament, they don't know whether this person is going to side with them or going to side with the other side of the coalition. Case study is Raphael Tuju. He was a very good performer as a member of parliament, but the mere fact that he did not toe the ODM party line, then as much as the people wanted him, the party chiefs don't want him, you're going to go home. So in these strongholds, once the party chiefs nominate somebody, you are going to win the ballot of the people on the ground, yes. But then the certificate is not going to be handed over to you because the party chiefs own the party automatically.
So
once you're
what's the
given
point
that
then?
seat, once you're given that ticket, that is it.
Yeah.
I think, Betty, it's not a new problem, truly and truly. I mean, Mheshimiwa Manzo, in 2013, stuff happened to him.
Yes.
Yeah,
What
stuff happened to him. I mean, sorry, I'm using it as an example. But there will always be a conflict between party loyalists and newcomers. And it will always be a dilemma that the party leader will always face. Do we have a Puritan approach to the nomination? Those who stand with us, irrespective of whether the ground likes them or not? Or do we allow new blood? We might not really understand where they are, but some of these guys have gone out of their way and gotten it right with the ground. In the case of Machakos Town, let me give an example of Machakos Town. In the last election, the guy who won the nomination, Victor Munyaka, was denied the certificate, and then it was given to another person. And the people told that guy, you come with a different party, and here you are. Things happened. Even the Migori governor, Okoth-Obado, was denied the ODM because of the Puritan approach. This guy, we don't know him, we can't understand him. But he came with another party. I think as an aspirant or as aspirants, the investment is with the people. Get it right with the people. The party leadership will always have different lenses to look at you, but the people have the ultimate decision. But again, the environment of 2013 is different from this environment. This environment has finality. Today, you subject yourself to Wiper nomination, you lose, you're doomed. But if you can be able to articulate your position very well, and say, in this, I feel this way, this might not happen, and you stay with the ground, there's a possibility of people giving you a fair chance.
All right.
Does it mean you will win? I don't know.
So
but
democracy is not dead, so to speak.
It isn't. We should give up on it, really. I mean, look at what is happening in Jubilee and the announcement that has been made now. Initially, party members or aspirants were told, we will use party membership cards.
Yes, the cards.
And people invested money in it. Midstream, they were told, no, we are not using membership cards. As we were moving to last week, the question of party membership emerged again. Today, you are listening to the chairman of election board say, you go there, if you're not in the register, but you have an ID. If you have an ID from that area, basically, they've opened up this thing.
I can explain that legally. you know that the law says party membership, and now party membership from the regulations is there's open party membership and closed party membership. So you have closed party membership in certain areas, like in Nairobi, you have closed party membership. But when you go, Kiambu, or you go to Machakos or Makueni, then you open the party membership. That's why when you present yourself with an identity card, even if you are not a registered voter, you are able to be registered instantly. As a member of that particular party. And this is what is going to happen in the nominations in Makueni going on, where I'm going to vote, because I'm not personally challenged as a member of parliament and a wiper.
Very lucky.
The others who are challenging me are in Jubilee, so I'm going to wait for them. No, I called, I invited them to join wiper so that we can go into nominations. And nobody seemed to be willing to come over.
They feared. All right, so we'll come back to the conversation, but for now, we want to cross over to Elvis Koskei. He is in Eldoret. Elvis, thank you very much for joining us. I understand that you're with Gladys Cholet.
Yes, Betty, I'm with Gladys Cholet with other women aspirants, and they're raising concern over the delay of the ballot papers. Maybe I should talk to one of the aspirants. Labda tuambie ni nini haswa kimeweza kuwachelewesha hivi sasa, naona mko hapa.
Kwanza ningependa kuwashukuru, na amesema kuna Gladys Cholet and others, but we are not others. I'm Ruth Kemboi Maraba and Irene Malel plus Gladys Cholet. So I really want to thank God because of this day. We are happy. We had a small problem in the morning. Shida yetu aswa ilikuwa upungufu. We had missing ballot papers, but up to now we are very happy. Sababu tumesikizana kama viongozi, tumekubaliana, and all is well. We are very happy. We really want to thank the returning officer, or the PO, is it the PO? I really want to thank him because he's very cooperative. Tumesikizana kama wamama, and things are going on well.
Okay, maybe your last message before the party primaries.
My last message is just peace. Tukwe na amani. We really want peace. And I want to request the people of Uasin Gishu to be peaceful up to the last moment. Okay. Yes.
Let's also talk to Irene Malel, who is a woman representative aspirant.
Thank you. This is Irene Malel, Cheptop Chumiot. Today, tumekuwa na voting ile mzuri, but here in Kapsoya ward, tulikuwa na problem ya women reps, but as women rep here, tumeweza kusolve your problem, jinsi mama Ruth amesema. Then Ban Forest kulikuwa na shida, then RVTI here kulikuwa na shida, but we have agreed to use ile ya 21st ballot papers. Sisi kama wamama tumekubaliana, maanake tunataka kazi ya haraka. Sisi ni mama wa amani, mama wa upendo, watetezi wa kina mama. So my message to my people in this Uasin Gishu County ni tupike kura kwa amani. Naona kila kitu inaendelea vizuri, and if there is something, let us address in a peaceful way. Thank you.
Yeah. Let's also bring in Gladys Cholet. What have you decided as the women representative aspirants?
I think I must first commend the other women aspirants, Irene Malel and Ruth Kemboi, because they've been very respectful and took a leadership position that we must try and resolve the problem. And I think it was a good thing. And we were able to work through and say where is the shortage and ensure that they got ballot papers on time. Because there were several places that had not begun. There were about 4 polling stations in Ainapkoi ward that hadn't begun. And now we have actually managed to get the ballot papers to get to them. And we agreed, because we said as long as something is done with openness and transparency, then there is nothing sinister about the decision. We've also had to make sure that MV Patel, which was also a problem, had not started until about less than half an hour ago, has now started voting. And all we're asking is the people of Uasin Gishu to be patient. Yeah, I think my colleagues have said that we ask for peace, but also patience, because I know that it's trying. People have been waiting for many hours on the line, but we ask them to be patient. Some people have not slept all night. Yeah, most of us haven't slept either. But I think if we are patient and because we love our country and we love our county, everything should be okay.
Your last message?
I just want to tell the people of Uasin Gishu, let's be patient, let's be respectful, and let's honor each other. Yeah, thank you.
Many thanks. You've heard from Irene Malel and also Ruth Kemboi Maraba and Gladys Cholet. These are women representative aspirants in Uasin Gishu County. We'll keep an eye on what will be happening in this region. Back to you in studio, Betty.
Let you go. Can we talk about the turnout? I remember last week, a time like now, there were quite a number of people who came out to vote. Is it the same case today?
Okay, some of the polling stations that we've managed to visit is that thousands of voters have been turned out because the officials of the Jubilee Party insist of the use of the Jubilee Party registered members list, and others who voted in 2013 in the URP nomination have been forced to lock out. But this is a matter that we'll be keeping an eye.
That, Elvis, because we've just had a press conference from the Jubilee headquarters, and Andrew Musangi indicates that you don't have to be on the Jubilee's register. As long as you have a national identification card, you can actually vote. Is that information that the officials down there have?
I think the information up to now have not been relayed correctly to the officials, but I think it's something that we'll be able to know if they have gotten that information clearly.
All right, thank you very much, Elvis Kosgei. They're reporting from Eldoret, where voting is currently underway. Remember, we're expecting a big battle there in Uasin Gishu County. You have Mandago, who is the incumbent, and of course Buzeki, who is an aspirant for the governor's position. All right, let's continue with our conversation here in studio. And what is really your assessment about Jubilee's second stab at this primaries? I'll start with you, Dan.
Well, you can see first, it didn't work for Jubilee.
What do you mean it didn't work?
Yeah, they had to postpone their nominations because half of the ballot papers were on ground, half were missing, allegedly, with their own aspirants. So they were stealing their own elections. And now they were able to sort it out. And you know, when you have chaotic or shambolic primaries, as it was explained, it means then your own party or coalition is chaotic and shambolic, and you are likely also to form a chaotic government.
But the president came out and said that it's because, you know, they were not expecting that kind of a turnout, and that's the only reason why this happened.
Well, I think very bright people were manning it. It's only that the president took control of the matter at a later. But the truth of the matter is that there were planned stealing by their own aspirants. That's why some ballot papers were missing. I'm sure they prepared for 100%. Because their party is really popular within their region. So that's just an excuse.
It's an excuse. Yes. Jesse, is it an excuse very quickly before we take a break?
It is actually an excuse.
What was the real reason?
The real reason, I think, there is a lot of fraud going on in that party. Because initially you realized they had said they are going to vote using cards. Then the aspirants actually vote so many cards for their members. And then all of a sudden they changed that we are not going to use cards again. And then that money was never refunded. So someone was actually making money. And then this is your stronghold. You expect 100% voter turnout. Why will you take 30% or 50% of the ballot papers for voting?
Maybe because it's the primaries and, you know, not too much was expected from
It's at stake, actually, because, as we said earlier, on the strongholds, somebody is as good as elected once he clinches the nomination. Okay. So there's a very high chance that the voter turnout is going to be high. Right. Therefore, the president, I think, was just trying to cover face as the party leader and to say, oh, we are underprepared. Probably it was part of propaganda to work on a bad situation to get some good airtime, to scare the opponents that this is just our nomination and we are underperformed. So you wait for the main thing.
All right, interesting. Yeah. Just a very quick comment in regards to that. Was it an excuse or was it the real situation?
I think it's a story of President Uhuru. It's about excuses, shifting responsibility, abducting what he knows. They've touted Jubilee as the best organized party. I remember in one of the conventions that they had in Kasarani, where the deputy president said the opposition is rudderless, clueless, disorganized, all adjectives which were negative. And we hope that they will present something on the manner that would be opposite to what NASA is presenting. Then the president comes out and says, no, we didn't expect this. It's the same approach he's had in his presidency throughout that he didn't expect. He is the leader of a political party. He has state machinery, he has the police at his disposal. It was a disappointment and a sham. But that's his presidency. That's his presidency.
We'll take a break right now. Things are getting heated up here. We'll take a break and we'll come back and continue the conversation, as well as informing you on, of course, all the developments happening across the country. So don't go away. It's a 2-minute break. We'll be right back.